race conditions as we now start the second part of our Barbados double-header. Look at the people here, and even the locals are trying to shade themselves from this sunshine. It is scorching hot here today. Let's have a look at the temperature. 91, but it certainly feels a lot warmer than that. Humidity some 66, partly cloudy. I think the clouds are a long way away. Look at the heat haze in the background as these guys are getting ready to see some more action here at Bushy Park. Just to remind you, 2 semi-finals, top 3 will go through to the final, then we've got an LCQ, and then the final made up of 10 cars, and it'll take place over 8 laps, and at one point in the race everybody must take the Cobalt Tools Joker lap. There it is in the background. It gives people the chance to maybe overtake some others around this circuit. If you want to have a closer look at the circuit, let's catch up with it with Austin Dine. On the grid for the semi for this second part of our Barbados weekend for the Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship. Drama and action we have already had in the first part around this 1.12 mile racetrack, and now we're up for the second part. In this semi-final on the first row we've got Ericsson, Piquet Jr., Dine, row 2 Deegan, Speed and Ken Block. Scott Speed now leading the championship ahead of Ken Block. Ken Block, who rolled his Hoonigan Ford Fiesta in the first parts here this weekend. And so Scott Speed, who also had big drama, but the cars are all repaired now. We are looking up the tail section of the Volkswagen Beetle of Scott Speed. He's in the middle of that second row. Ken Block's on the extreme right-hand side. Wait for the greens, we're underway! Brilliant start by Ericsson with the yellow tail fin as they charge down to the first corner. Contact already with Nelson Piquet Jr., who takes the lead.
Did you see that, Toby? Contact there. Ken Block trying to barge Sebastian Ericsson out of the way. Can't make anything happen right now, but let's pay attention now to the intra battle here between Ken Block and Scott Speed, the 2 championship leaders.
Brilliant start by Ken Block. Really aggressive as he's hard on the brakes up the tail section of Sebastian Ericsson. Ken Block there with the blue tail section, predominantly black car. The car in front of him with the yellow tail is Sebastian Ericsson. And here goes Ken Block, and he goes through. But has he left the door open?
Scott Speed in that VW Beetle, the blue VW Beetle, sneaks up the inside, and Ken Block again with trouble here. So now he's got to get himself back together. He's got to get by Austin Dine here to stand a chance of progressing straight to the finals.
I remind you that the man leading is Nelson Piquet Jr. He's running away with this. There's second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth position. Brian Deegan with the yellow star on the side of his Ford Fiesta shoots past Sebastian Ericsson, who I think has got handling problems after that coming together.
Let's just pay attention to them now as they come into turn 2. That's Austin Dine there in that black Ford Fiesta. Chasing him is Ken Block. Ken has been quicker throughout the year, but Austin Dine has found some speed this weekend, so he's been on the pace. So let's see what he can do here. Scott Speed, though, looks like he's pulling away. Look at that Ken Block so hard on the edge here. He's got to be careful with his tires right now.
Oh, but when they are hard on the brakes, Anders, don't they look so aggressive? It gives you some idea of how fast they're going down these straights and how difficult it is to slow these cars down, to arrest the speed before they get into the corners. PK Jokers, so does the light blue stripes of the Beetle of Scott Speed, and so does Austin Dine. So they've taken the Cobalt Tools Joker lap for their one and only time in this race.
And we've seen the Cobalt Tools Joker lap gain about 2 to 2.5 seconds, depending on how you just do it. So Ken Block right now, he's about 5.7 seconds back and 2 seconds back of Scott Speed. That means even if he takes the Cobalt Tools Joker lap this next lap, he will not get that position back on Speed. So he's got to find a little bit more time here before he takes the Joker.
But he's got to get his head down. He's got a clear track in front of him. He's really got to time trial it if he was a cyclist to get that clean road working for him as he comes around the hairpin. It comes over a slight rise there. Ken Block with the light blue flashes on the top of the hood there makes his way down to this left-hander and onto the dirt, which is made up of the dirt here from Barbados, made up of old coral. So actually you can see seashells from millions of years ago in that dirt.
And the corals are a big reason why the tire wear has been so bad this weekend, because it just rips up those Yokohama slick tires. And as we see Ken Block here in that Ford Fiesta, he's going so sideways here. It's so easy to lose the rear end.
Through Through the dust comes our leader, Nelson Piquet, winner of the Washington DC race already this year. He did that back in the middle of August. He's got great pace here in this semi-final, clipping a curb there. Scott Speed behind him with the Volkswagen, staying away from the curb, making sure that everything is going to be okay here in Barbados Part 2. Remember, I remind you, Scott Speed, big accident in Barbados 1. The mechanics have crashed to get that car ready here for Barbados 2.
And the reason why we're focusing on Ken Block right now in this Ford Fiesta is that he's currently in 4th spot. That is going to guarantee him a spot to move on towards the finals. So that's going to be quite important.
So then, it's going to be the top 3, if I could say, Anders, who are going to go through. So it's Block who's got a lot of work to do. Here comes Brian Deegan with the black Rockstar Ford. He has a road full of Austin Dine, but he does the undercut. As Deegan, what a fighter! He comes through side by side. Look at this! Deegan and Dine go down to complete another lap down to the first corner, but it's Austin Dine who gets the drag race done. Does he go wide? Deegan hugs the curb. This is great racing.
And now is the perfect chance for Ken Block to take that Cobalt Tools Joker lap. He's got to be a little bit closer to these guys right now, but now he's got to take a look at how sideways Brian Deegan is in that black and yellow Ford Fiesta. They're hard on into the brakes into turn 6.
This is the battle for 3rd position. So as you say, Anders, if Ken Block can leap ahead of them, he will guarantee his place on the grid for the final, not having to go through the LCQ.
And let's just watch for Ken Block to come into the picture here. Here's the 3rd car. Now he's going to go straight ahead. Look at that. Boom. There he is. Right into the Cobalt Tools Joker lap. Let's pay attention.
Big shot, big shot. Here comes Ken Block, closest to the camera, and he goes through to 3rd. What a brilliant time to pull the trigger on the Joker lap for Ken Block. He's now up into 3rd position. So now everybody, less for Sebastian Eriksson, who is at the back of the pack, has taken the Joker lap, so the stagger has unraveled.
And what that means is right now, Austin Dine and Brian Deegan, who are in the shot here right now, are going to have to go through the last chance qualifier. But Nelson Piquet Jr. out front in that red and black Fiesta right there, it's been smooth sailing, and I don't think Scott Speed is going to risk too much in that VW Beetle on the last lap here.
Big sideways slide there from the leader with the Ford Fiesta, but menacing is that Volkswagen Beetle of Scott Speed. Our championship leader here with 2 more rounds to go. These are the semi-finals, preparing for the final a little bit later on. Can Scott Speed continue the triple header series of victories that the Volkswagens have done from the 2 Los Angeles rounds and Barbados 1 that we've had here this weekend? VW's winning all 3 of those races. Tanner Faust winning and Barbados 1 over the line. The semi-final has been taken by Nelson Piquet Jr. from Scott Speed, from Ken Block. Those are our top 3 who now guarantee themselves a place on the grid for the final. How much easier is that going to be for Block rather than Barbados 1?
What a sigh of relief for Ken Block. It has his entire Hoonigan Racing crew right there. By securing 3rd, he goes on into the finals. Austin Dine, Brian Deegan and Sebastian Eriksson have one more fight to make it into the finals.
So now he be able to get it off the grid when the lights go out. Let's have a look at the grid. Arpin, Thiemann and Faust are on the front row. From then, Sandell, Isaacson and Reese Millen. What do you think Sandell's car's going to do?
I have no idea. That car has been through the wars this weekend. He's been crashing and bashing and all sorts of things have been happening. So hopefully he gets off the line here and can still stand a chance of winning the championship.
Okay then, so on that front row, Arpin on the right with the orange car. Then we got Thiemann in the middle. Then we got Tanner Faust, the winner of our first part of the double header. And then on the rear, on the back row, look at the car on the right. That is Patrick Sandell. Wait for the green light. Bottom right of your screen, go! And he has to baby it off the line. At the front though, it's going to be the Volkswagen Beetle and the Ford Fiesta side by side. The yellow Beetle has got the inside line. Tanner Faust leads it into turn 1. Oh, that's a big accident! That's a big accident. Surely the suspension's going to be damaged for Steve Arpin.
Did you see that start from from Tanner Faust in that yellow VW Beetle, and it just looked like Steve Arpin here in the Ineos car was sleeping off the line, so then he made a last-minute lunge and almost took out Yoni Weeman. I'm surprised there isn't more damage to these two cars because he was airborne.
You're in my head. I thought that was going to be a big accident, and we've got Sverre Isaksson, former European rally champion, with the Subaru in third position with the white graphics and the pink STI written down the side. The Ford Fiesta of Steve Arpin still chases hard. How is the steering not bent awry? I have no idea.
And we have been told there was a small review on Arpin there, but he has not been given a penalty for that. So obviously Yoni Weeman is able to continue. But let's look now. Tanner Faust in the lead, Yoni Weeman. Then Sverre Isaksson in that Subaru STI in third. There is our leader. There is the winner from the first part of our Barbados doubleheader, Tanner Faust. 6 times an overall winner in global rallycross history. He has competed in every single global rallycross race that has ever been over the last 5 years. If anybody has experience, it is Tanner Faust. And I think Tanner Faust is really feeling the Barbados island spirit, because he's just come out this weekend and been so strong in every single session, and that VW Beetle has just been working so beautifully for the latter part of the season. Got a mark on his car after the first part of the doubleheader. He takes the Cobalt Tools Joker lap together with the reigning GRC champion from Finland, Yoni Weeman. Nothing between these two guys. Well, about half a second to be precise, as they start another lap. I remind you, top 3 will guarantee their place on the grid for the final. And all top 3 drivers have taken the Cobalt Tools Joker, so right now it's up to Sverre Isaksson and Sandell and Millen to select the Cobalt Tools Joker. Here's a good shot of Sverre Isaksson in that Subaru STI. He's currently running in 4th spot right now. They've struggled all year long with the pace of this Subaru, but this could be a good turn to speed for them. It is, and the big management are playing the long game with the Global Rallycross Championship. They won last year, they've struggled a bit this year, but they're playing the long game. They've got a lot of help from Japan and the great knowledge of engineers that are in STI Subaru, Fuji Heavy Industries headquarters, and they are playing the long game, thinking it's going to come good for us sooner rather than later. And look at Patrick Sandell. He may have struggled to get off the line, but in that Cobalt Tools Ford Fiesta, he is chasing Sverre down now as we go over that second of those 2 jumps. Can he do something into the final couple of corners here? He's going to try for the high-low here to set up Sverre. Can he get a good run onto the front straight? Patrick Sandell in the black and white Ford Fiesta chases the white and pink Subaru STI. Good run down this straight. Wipers going so that he can see where he's going. Patrick Sandell, the Swede, chasing the Norwegian. Oh, we've got some Vikings going on head-to-head here, haven't we, Anders? Yeah, the Scandos really are going at... Oh, he is going to peak in turn 4. That is not a place to do a pass. Look at this. He's definitely got the speed right now, Toby, but he just can't do anything. Sverre Isaksson, obviously well-renowned for making his car 5 times wider than most other drivers. He certainly is a fiery character, but boy, oh boy, can he drive a car and can he hang it out when he needs to. Likewise, Patrick Sandell, an experienced, traditional rally car stage driver. He takes the Joker, so he's going to leap ahead of Sverre Isaksson Subaru. The Cobalt Tools Ford Fiesta comes through. Wondering why it's missing a rear wing. It fell off in the first part of our doubleheader. It got smashed to pieces, and they haven't got another one. So it should have good speed down the straight. It should indeed. Very low drag on that car, but it could potentially hurt a little bit, especially in these high-speed corners like turn 1 and turn 2. Just look at how sideways he gets here through the middle of the corners. But right now, Patrick Sandell, wow, what a comeback for him. And can he potentially do something with Arpin? I don't think so. He is going to be too far back. Spectacular driving that we're seeing from Sandell. Great, brave driving as he comes through the hairpin. Still leading, though, on a lap and a half to go is Faust from Weeman from Arpin. There are your leaders. There's first place. There's Faust. Then we've got the Ford Fiesta. That is Weeman.
Steve Arpin with the orange Ford Fiesta should be next up. Just saw a quick glimpse of him in the background there. Through these long double right-handers. Spectacular through here, these cars are.
But what a turn of speed for Joni Wiedmann as Sverre Isaksen jokers. Where does he end up? He is down in 5th. So yes, he did lose that spot to Patrick Sandell. Look at how sideways he gets in that Subaru. But let's talk about what a big turn of speed Joni Wiedmann's had. He's running 2nd right now, and in the first round he finished 3rd. So he's suddenly back on the podium.
Now we're just hearing from race control that Sverre Isaksen is going to get a stop and go, that he's got to take on this final lap. So Isaksen, it's because when he did the Joker lap and when he rejoined the main racetrack, he crossed a white line that has been put in the middle of the racetrack to denote that he's not allowed to go that far in the middle of the racetrack. Here he goes into the penalty box, away, and that is his race as good as done. So no problems at all for Tanner Faust, the victor of the final here in the first part of our Barbados doubleheader. That car has been spotless all weekend. I don't think he's even used the wipers across the windshield. He's never been headed. He wins this semi-final ahead of Joni Wiedmann, and ahead through the murk it is Steve Arpin. Sandell nearly got him, but was 0.4 of a second back by the time the flag had dropped.
And you can barely see the cars through all this dust that's being kicked up from these 650 horsepower GRC cars. But boy, what a job here from Tanner Faust, and VW coming on so strong here at the second part of the season.
Tanner Faust is 4th in the championship standings at the moment, but he could turn it all around. He is confirmed as the victor in this second semi. From Wiedmann, from Arpin, Sandell, Millen and Isaksen are going to be going through to the LCQ. Stay with us here from Barbados. As we look at our royal purple grid, Scott Speed, Nelson Piquet Jr., Tanner Faust, what a front row! Ken Block, Steve Arpin, Joni Wiedmann make up that second row that we saw down there with Will. Then Deegan, Dine, Ericsson, Patrick Sandell. He has limped that car onto the back of the grid. Anders Krohn, there's something special about the feeling as we come towards the start here in Barbados.
There's something really in the air, and I was just thinking, not only is this a battle about the drivers, but it's also about the automotive giants that is Ford Motor Company and Volkswagen going head-to-head here, right down to the wire. I'm so excited.
Some of the VW big bosses are in front of our commentary position. They're hopping from foot to foot. They're nervous about this one, as I think everybody is here in the Global Rallycross paddock. I remind you, on the left-hand side is Speed. In the middle of the front row is Piquet Jr. The yellow Beetle is Tanner Faust. We're underway for the final here in Barbados. What a brilliant start. There's nothing between them as they go down to the first corner. Can it be Tanner Faust to do the double here in Barbados? He leads into turn 1.
And Scott Speed, you gotta be careful. Oh, Patrick Sandell nails into the back of Austin Dine, and Ken Block has fallen way back.
VW 1-2.
Big
1-2. And it's the leading Ford is now Joni Wiedmann, the reigning champion from last year. VW's charged to the front again, but Wiedmann is trying to come back with his blue and white Ford Fiesta. Nelson Piquet Jr. up in 4th position now. What a start by Sandell.
Sandell came barreling through, and Ken Block is now at the very back of the field in that black and blue Ford Fiesta. Can't do anything, running wide yet again. What is going on with Ken Block? What is happening with him? As we see the yellow Volkswagen Beetle here of Tanner Faust out in front, all those Ford Fiestas back here fighting it out.
There goes Brian Deegan past our camera as he goes over the second of the camel jumps here in Barbados in Bushy Park. The camera pans round as they complete the first lap. There goes Scott Speed through your shot. He's in second place as they charge again into the first corner. I remind you, it's an 8-lap race with 10 cars, 50 points for the winner.
And Sandell in that Cobalt Tools car sliding around, bashing in to the side of Sebastian Ericsson in that Red Bull car. Scott Speed here, the championship leader right now, running in second place in that blue VW Beetle. Tanner Faust is so far ahead, we're not even seeing him in the shot.
No, it's a dilemma for the sponsors on that one, but Tanner Faust running away with this one. And VW 1-2 at the moment. There we see in the smoking car with the yellow rear wing. That is Sebastian Eriksson. But there is your leader taking the Cobalt Tools Joker lap together with his teammate with the blue VW Beetle. That is Scott Speed, the points leader. And Nelson Piquet Jr. Is Nelson Piquet going to come back into third position? Yes, he is.
He is indeed, but Steve Arpin right there in that orange Ineos car got overtaken by Joni Wiemann, who went up to fourth there. So good move for Wiemann. And oh, we have banisters all over the track, exploding. This is just like GRC at its best.
It is indeed. They're going so quick down the home straight. The wash from the aerodynamics behind these cars has pulled some of the banners off the barriers. Meanwhile, there is the orange car. That is Steve Arpin. He's currently in fifth position at the moment, trying to chase down Joni Wiemann. He got a podium in the first part of our Barbados double-header, did Wiemann, for only the second time this year.
But nothing really big to be gained here at the moment for these two in the championship. They're not really in the thick of the battle. The thick of the battle is Scott Speed up in second place, and then we have Block all the way down in 10th. Clearly big problems for him. Wiemann takes the Cobalt Tools Joker. Where is he going to file out? He is gonna overtake Nelson Piquet Jr.
Now, if you look at the top of your screen, it's a penalty to Patrick Sandell for rough driving when he left the line into the first corner. It was a bit of a bull in a china shop, wasn't it, when he came through? And you said it at the time, Anders. Where did he come from? Well, he didn't really touch the brakes, did he? So he's going to have to take a stop-go penalty. Oh dear.
And if you just look at the car of Patrick Sandell in that Ford Fiesta, he doesn't have the rear wing. All his body panels are beat up like nobody's business. So that car has been through the wars all weekend long.
The wiper's going to try and see where he's going. He's right up the tail of a sister Ford of Steve Arpin, but it's hanging up the car, the bits of bodywork. He takes the penalty, stop go. He loses some positions, two of them as Brian Deegan shoots past.
Now, the only saving grace here for Sandell is that he still has not taken the Cobalt Tools Joker. So if he takes that right now, look for him to go straight. He does, as does Brian Deegan in that Rockstar car.
So then they take the Joker lap, don't cross the line, don't hit Austin Dine, who's up there on the inside. Oh, they do touch. They flick sideways. Dine's got the inside line. He shoots ahead into the final right-hander. And now as he goes up the gears to fourth, to fifth, to sixth gear, 120, 130 miles an hour down this home straight. Dine has had a big accident on the front left. You can see it's all stoved in as the smoke pouring off the back of Patrick Sandell. Is he trying to take over Ken Block's Gymkhana videos or something? What's going on?
Sandell must be the Scandinavian equivalent of Ken Block, as that is a sideways. But here we have the leader now, Tanner Faust. Look at the car in immaculate shape. He hasn't been in a single battle. The only guy he's got to worry about right now is his teammate of Scott Speed.
So then, it's a VW1-2 as they come over the jump once more. They land so perfectly. Some of the Fords have been a little bit nose-heavy here this weekend, but Anders and I have been watching the jumps of the VWs, and they just land so softly and perfectly. They've got the balance and the center of gravity absolutely spot on as they complete another lap here in Bushy Park in Barbados. 3 to go.
And you have to pose the question, Toby, is Scott Speed content to stay in second place at this point, or is he going to try and take that lead? He's got a pretty solid points advantage at the moment over Ken Block, but Tanner Faust is probably going to move up the points as well here if he keeps this score right now. So a huge day for Volkswagen and a big chance for them to score maximum points this weekend.
Round the hairpin once more they go. A lot of rubber being laid down on the tarmac throughout the weekend, with practice, with qualifying, with the races here as the VWs with 1 and 2. Men from Wolfsburg, Germany, putting a lot of effort behind this Global Rallycross Championship as once more they jump over the jump, and then the second jump that's on tarmac. You've got to turn the car before you come over the crest. And now another 1.1 miles soon to be done. Tanner Faust, I remind you, the Global Rallycross champion from 2011 and 2012, looking to do the double here in Barbados in another 2 laps time after they cross the line there. Nice, neat driving. He doesn't need to do anything silly.
Yeah, he doesn't at all. He's just driving it so neatly, and I think that's going to help massively towards the end of the race here with preserving those tires. We've seen a lot of blisters on the tires, just like Will alluded to earlier in the show, so it's going to be a big thing for them to not slide around. Now, oh, look at this. Joni Weeman completely loses control into turn 6. He is going to make it back on track, but man, oh man, he's going to lose some spots.
And he's lost a podium position. That's the big news of that one, Anders. He's lost a podium position to Nelson Piquet Jr., who's trying to get that 3rd position, and in fact, he's got it at the moment. That's 4th and 5th in shot. The orange car of Arpin, and Veman, who's now down a slot into 5th place. I reckon at the moment, as they come over the line, over the yump once more.
Coming into the final couple of corners here for Weeman, and you have to have a look at the car here to see is there any damage. But out front, not a single issue for Tanner Faust or Scott Speed. Right now, Scott is going to extend that championship lead, and Ken Block is going to fall further back. And it could, in fact, even be Tanner Faust moving into 2nd place in the points here if he keeps this lead. So this could be a huge day for the entire Volkswagen Group and the Andretti Autosport team.
It is indeed, because not only will it move him up into 2nd place for Tanner Faust, he started the weekend in 6th in the championship to Tanner Faust. So the maximum haul of double pointage here in Barbados means that he's actually himself keeping his championship chances alive going in to the final round in Las Vegas in just over a month's time. Half a lap to go. The dominance of Volkswagen over the last 2 races has been nothing short of imperious. They have won the doubleheader in Los Angeles, and they're going to win a double here in Barbados. Tanner Faust does the double in Barbados. A VW 1-2 as they come over the line. It's Faust and it's Speed, and Speed is now got a hand on the championship. The team are over the moon. The man in 3rd position there was Nelson Piquet Jr., and the men who really lost out, Ericsson in 7th and Ken Block in 10th position. But this weekend has been all about Volkswagen and the Flying Beetle.
Elation there for the Volkswagen Group of Andretti Autosport, but you have to feel for Ken Block and his Hoonigan crew.
There is nothing that can stop Volkswagen and Andretti RallyCross at the moment. They've done the double again. Everybody else at Bushy Park here this weekend. There is confirmation. Tanner Faust, Scott Speed, a VW 1-2 in our 2nd final. Piquet Jr. getting 3rd. Steve Arpin just off the podium once more. But Ken Block, 10th position, last, just 5 points for him. That now means that it is only Scott Speed and Tanner Faust who have a chance of winning this year's championship in Red Bull Global Rallycross. Everybody else is eliminated.